Faces of Abortion is the only television program of its kind that shares the powerful, real-life stories of women, men, and families who have suffered through the destruction of abortion. You will be hearing powerful stories from women and men and families throughout the nations. Faces of Abortion touches lives and changes hearts in over 115 nations. You will also be given practical steps on how you can end abortion.
So it just overwhelmed me. And I thought the only way to escape the pain was to take my life.
I had a fear that I wouldn't be able to have my own children.
It brings heartache. It brings hurt.
And I knew they were tearing my baby apart.
I remember the cold feeling of the room.
I remember laying there and I just said to myself that I will never forgive myself for what I'm doing.
I believe that my life was spared that night just so that I could be here right now and say abortion hurts women.
Welcome to this week's episode of Faces of Abortion. I'm Alan Parker, your co-host, and this is Clayton Trotter, the General Counsel of the Justice Foundation and co-host of our show. And we're very honored to have Linda Schlueter, who is the Vice President of Legal Affairs for the Justice Foundation and also our principal brief writer. This week, you're going to hear from Sandra Cano, who was the Doe of Doe v. Bolton, the companion case to Roe v. Wade. Together, these two cases brought abortion to America. And now I want you to hear from Sandra Cano, the Doe of Doe v. Bolton, in her own words.
Thank you all very much as panelists. I'm going to start with Sandra Cano, who is also known as Doe in Doe v. Bolton. I believe this is the first time you've ever testified regarding this issue, and it's significant. It's tough for you. I want to say thank you for being here, and we'll receive your testimony now.
The Doe v. Bolton Supreme Court decision bears my name. I am Sandra Cano, the former Doe of Doe v. Bolton. Doe v. Bolton is a companion case to Roe v. Wade. Using my name and life, Doe v. Bolton falsely created the health exception that led to abortion on demand and partial birth abortion. How it got there is still pretty much a mystery to me. Please understand, even though I have lived what many would consider an unstable life and overcome many devastating circumstances, at no time did I ever have an abortion. I did not seek an abortion, nor do I believe in abortion. Yet my name and life is now forever linked with the slaughter of 40 to 50 million babies. I am angry. I feel like my name, life, and identity have been stolen and put on this case without my knowledge and against my wishes. How dare they use my name and my life this way? One of the justices of the Supreme Court said during oral arguments in my case, "What does it matter if she is real or not?" Well, I am real and it does matter. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Kano. It's a very difficult thing to do, and I appreciate very much your willingness to come forward and to testify and to answer questions.
We have the great honor at the Justice Foundation of representing Sandra Kano, who was Doe of Dovey Bolton, whom you just heard from. And Clayton, one of the things she talked about was her case being a companion case to Roe v. Wade. What does that mean for our audience?
Well, when Roe v. Wade and Doe v. Bolton were decided, there were two cases from two different circuit courts that essentially dealt with the same issues. So the Supreme Court combined those cases, and they call them companion cases. So the court heard the two cases at the same time. Now, Roe v. Wade is the far more famous case. Most people have heard of Roe v. Wade, and they think abortion on demand came from Roe v. Wade, but it was actually the combination of the two cases, the companionship, if you will, of the two cases, which brought abortion on demand to America. And Sandra's case particularly opened the door for partial birth abortion and abortion at any time until just before the baby's born. And so without the two cases, we wouldn't have had the law the way that it is, and they're called companion cases. All right. And Linda, you've been working on this case for a couple of years now with us at the Justice Foundation, have written two briefs before the Supreme Court. She said that she never wanted an abortion. How did that come about, that her name's connected with this case if she never wanted an abortion? What are the facts on that?
Well, I think that's probably the most shocking thing to your listeners, because normally when you have a court case, it's someone who wants the court to do something. But in Sandra's case, she was looking for child support and not an abortion. She wanted this baby. And as she said in her testimony, I never wanted an abortion, I don't believe in abortion, and yet my name was connected with it. And what we talk about in the law, that was really fraud upon the court. It was terrible that the court believed she wanted an abortion, but in fact she never did. And she even fled from Georgia to Oklahoma to ensure that she never did have an abortion.
Well, now, Linda, my understanding is that it was her mother and her lawyer, or actually the lawyer for the mother, that they wanted her to have an abortion.
Yes, that's correct.
And so, so it's kind of interesting that the case that brought abortion on demand to America, the woman didn't want an abortion, and someone else was trying to force an abortion on her.
That's true, but if you talk to the women, you'll find that that is not untypical, that there is someone who is coercing the woman into an abortion, whether it's a boyfriend who doesn't want the baby, whether it's the parents who may be ashamed of what has happened, but there's someone usually there.
That's right. What the Supreme Court said would be a choice between a woman and her doctor is often used to pressure the woman into having an abortion to solve the problem that it creates for someone else. And Sandra was pregnant, and she'd had some hard times, as she said, in her past, but she would not have wanted an abortion, and she never did. Unlike our other client, Norma McCorvey, who did want an abortion, but in both cases, neither woman